Hello YouTube, this is Ben Yessel. I'm going to make some videos tonight, hopefully that more than one of them. But in this video, we'll be talking a little bit about feminism. And I don't think I've addressed this. I don't think I've talked about this subject yet. It's well, it's not not the simplest of subjects, depending on, again, what you think the word means, or what the ism means. Feminism. Well, one of many subjects I need to talk about. I'll try to get to all the subjects when I get to them. I think I know how to address this subject, though. How to start this one off a little bit. Starting with the more, I would say, benevolent, admirable, original aspect of feminism, which is essentially women's suffrage, the right of women to vote, and the attendant dignity that women just wanted, that they haven't always had in society. And that was largely accomplished in the early 1900s. The early 1900s. The roots of, well, the only feminism that I would agree with. And past that point, what else would anyone need or want in that social vein? Dignity and freedom and right to vote and equal opportunity in the workplace. Now, again, there's a lot of different topics I will talk about. You can bring up statistic after statistic about all kinds of things, about salary differences between men and women, and you can associate it with race and things. But you know what? If there's any issues in that regard, they're not mine. They're not mine. It's, I am in favor of women having equal pay, but the problem is you have two different people, either of any kind of people, whatever, whatsoever. If they are doing the same job, well, they should have equal pay. But the world is more complex. I mean, we obviously have different kinds of jobs, there's all kinds of things that play into how much one earns, that it starts to become kind of, some arguments are pretty silly in my opinion, unless you're talking about the exact same job. So, don't point your finger at me in this regard. I had nothing to do with this whatsoever. If there's anybody that is guilty of gender preferences or favoring one gender over another gender, that's not me. But I will say that, so that aspect of feminism, actually, I am in favor of. I'm in favor of equal pay, of course. I'm in favor of equal rights for everyone. Everyone. So, as you're probably guessing, what don't I like about feminism? Actually, what do I think is evil about feminism? Well, okay, so I think you get the general idea of what I'm in favor of. What don't I like about feminism? Well, is anybody presumptuous enough to assume, well, to play God, in a sense? Does anyone want to play God regarding the unique qualities of men and women? Oh, and there are people that argue about what is a man or what is a woman? It's just it's just the way that these XY things work out when you're born. hormones and all these biological things, right? It's just scientific, right? Uh, you know what? Hey, if people want to make that assumption, gosh, there's nothing stopping you. But I certainly wouldn't want to do that because you're talking about something pretty fundamental to how life as we understand it. If you're going to go so far as to say that hey, we can just arbitrarily change gender. I mean, look, a lot of what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I'll just say it. If someone wants to change their sex, that's their business. But I wouldn't want to be in the business of changing people's sex or playing with their gender. I certainly wouldn't want to. I wouldn't even want to go there. I have too much respect for God, to say the very least. In my opinion, God is the one that. He's the one that. And if you don't believe in God, then just don't assume that you know everything there is to know about gender. I wish in a way, some people wish that life was as simple as the Teenage Ninja Turtles when they discovered that the reason that they were big, overgrown turtles that mutated from little turtles because of the secret of the ooze, right? That one movie. Life isn't that simple. Many scientists would like it to be that simple, but it's not. I certainly wouldn't want to be guilty of ever thinking life was just that simple. I couldn't try it. So, the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because feminists would have you believe that there is no such thing as gender. That a woman can be a man if they want to be a man. There is no difference. Anybody can be as strong as anybody can, can increase their physical strength or their fitness or their aggressiveness or anything that's associated perhaps historically with more masculine characteristics. A woman can have any of those qualities she wants to. There's nothing stopping her from acquiring those attributes, but the question is, does that make her a man? And when she's becoming more masculine, whether or not she originally had more of those traits or not, is this something that's spiritually healthy? Is this something that's good for the world at large? Some women are actually pretty tough, Nowadays we have women in the military, women police officers. Awesome, great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's up to the woman, really. It's up to, it's a very different society we live in. But what happens if a woman, of course, if you're pregnant, I think you'd probably get time off of work. What happens if a woman just becomes pregnant, or she's not aware that she is pregnant? She's in the line of duty. I'm not a police officer, so I don't know how they would handle this. But she's line of duty, she's in a dangerous situation, and somebody has a stick. You would think this is more of a police officer move, but they just go boom right to her gut. She loses that baby. It's hard enough. Yeah, baby's gone. Miscarriage. That's one of perhaps tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't know how many different situations the women might find themselves in a rough job. And they have to take that risk. If they take that risk, hey, in the past, a lot of people said, no, that's not a job for women, right? And then the feminists came along and said, oh, that's chauvinist, or that nothing's, you should go do that job if you want to, right? Sure, but dangerous jobs are called dangerous jobs for a reason. I mean, I don't know. Now, you can always work in the office or have a desk job if you're a police officer. I mean, look, it can be something as stupid and simple as some kid, your school teacher, some kid socks you in the gut. And let's say you hadn't discovered you were pregnant yet, but then There's a hard enough punch. So, these things can happen in life in general anyway, even if you don't have a dangerous job. But there's a better chance that you're probably going to have some bad situations like that happen when you're in a rougher job. So, the military should go without saying. I mean, I don't know. Look, feminism has been, after a certain point, detrimental to any society that practices it. Past a certain point, no. Equal pay, yes. Absolutely equal rights. All that stuff. But losing sight of your gender? How is that healthy? If anybody who wants to be transgender or whatever else, it's, whatever, but my personal feeling about my own self, if I decided to be a woman, no, I would think that would be a very bad thing. For all those people that are pointing the finger at me saying, don't judge other people, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to point the finger at myself and saying, what if I changed my own sex? What if I acted more feminine? Would that be righteous or not? Well, I'm trying to say it would not be righteous. It would be bad. Okay? Make of that what you will, for anyone else out there. And everybody makes their own decisions and choices regarding those kinds of things anyway, especially in this day and age. Feminism, then, has given rise to all these crazy things, in my opinion, that I don't approve of, but everybody has to make their own judgment call on this kind of thing ultimately. Now, there's also many other things like the media and feminism in the media, right? Women needing to be more confident. Well, let's just come out and say, women being aggressive and bitchs, right? Just acting like men with big muscles and hairy chests, and they're warriors, just like men. And you see women in video games that are fighters all the time, and there's nothing wrong, nothing abnormal about that. To have a skinny little 100-pound woman with a sword that totally just kills dozens and dozens of big burly warriors. Oh no, there's nothing unrealistic about that at all, because she's quicker than that, right? And she has better skills with the sword. Let me get into the whole Bruce Lee thing. I've talked about that before. Right? Oh yes. But gosh, even if sometimes, hey, it's absolutely realistic to have a very flexible, fast woman kill a bunch of. Oh, I absolutely. Oh yes. Well, we're not really talking about realistic things anyway. What we're talking about is, on some level, what makes a man a man, what makes a woman a woman. And why is that important? Why is that so important? If you lose sight of your gender, which is a fundamental aspect of your identity, gosh, I would think your gender would be even more fundamental than race. Nowadays, race, for a lot of people, doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything for a lot of people. I would think gender would probably be a pretty big deal, okay? Or at least the freedom to choose your own gender for some people. So, it isn't the fact that women can beat up men, some women. That's not really what I'm talking about ultimately. What I'm talking about is what kinds of qualities would you expect in a woman, especially women that you might find romantically appealing, attractive, right? So you could pursue her, and she could pursue you. What kinds of qualities are masculine? Or what kinds of things should young men, strive to incorporate in their own character? And why is that so important? Or is that important? It is important. Just like feminine qualities. Is being a warrior not feminine? That's always going to be one of those, all depends. There are women warriors. But you're always going to see those folks in smaller numbers compared to men, because men are naturally stronger and bigger. Some men aren't, but the majority of men are stronger, tougher, bigger, faster, better for combat than women. And that's the way that God intended things to be. And again, if you don't believe in God, just realize it's a biological thing. It's a biological reason. It's unquestionable. Now, if you want to mix estrogen and testosterone and do this kind of hormone swapping and see if you can get women that act more manly than men and all these kinds of crazy, hey, it's a free world. I'm not going to play God. And I would think that looking at the insect kingdom would be probably sufficient. You can kind of see how women run things in the insect kingdom. But let's face it, even with big giant wasps, you can still step on them and they die. I guess what I'm trying to infer is extreme feminism. You just step on it with your shoe. It's a bunch of hooey. Trying to teach women to be someone they're not. And we really, I think, want women to be feminine. That's what we want. And that, I think, have our heads on straight. That's what we want. We don't want to marry someone who actually is manly. I mean, I don't know. If you're gay, I suppose you might have feelings toward men, but you wouldn't have feelings toward women. But how would you feel toward women who are masculine? I don't know. But I would think, yeah, I mean, feminism, modern feminism, not cool. Old feminism, the old stuff. Susan B. Anthony, that's cool. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.